Hey everybody, it's Lon.TV, and we're taking a look today at the Roku Voice Remote Pro. This is an add-on remote control for Roku players. It's an official remote, and it adds a lot of features that your current remote is probably lacking on your Roku, including private listening with headphones and voice-activated commands that don't require a button push. And we're going to step through what this remote can do in just a second, but I do want to let you know, in the interest of full disclosure, this came in free of charge from Roku. However, all the opinions you're about to hear are my own. No one is paying for this review, nor has anyone reviewed or approved what you're about to see before it was uploaded. So let's get into it now and see what this remote is all about. The price point on this is currently $29. Depending on the Roku player you have, this might cost as much as the player that you're using, but it does again add some useful features to the mix. Now, the remote should work with most recent Roku players made after 2017. It supports all of the Roku television sets as well as the Roku soundbar products. Now, the thing that I like the most about it is that you get private listening. So if you plug headphones into the left-hand side of the remote here, you can listen to what is on your TV screen without disturbing a partner. So if you go to bed later than your spouse does, you can watch all of your favorite YouTube videos like mine just by plugging headphones in, and they won't hear any sound. The second you pull the headphones out, the sound will return to the television. This is a feature that's typically in the Roku Ultra devices, but this will bring that feature to a lot of other Rokus, including some of the entry-level ones. Now, you're also going to see a switch here on the left-hand side. This is for the voice activation. Now, right now I have it set to on, and what this means is that the remote is in an always listening mode. So, for example, if I just say, "Hey Roku, show me Star Trek: The Next Generation," I'm able to pull up Star Trek here without having to push the voice button on the remote like many other voice remotes from Roku require. Additionally, if the remote is missing somewhere or hidden, you can say, "Hey Roku, find my remote." And what it'll do is it'll start playing a sound on the remote control so you can find it. Now, of course, if you disable the switch on it, that will make that feature no longer work. So that basically mutes the microphone. But you still have the ability to push the voice search button here in the middle if you want to issue a voice command. So that's pretty neat to have kind of two ways to get at the voice feature. And again, you can disable that microphone when you don't want to use it. Now, the remote has a built-in battery. They say it'll last about 2 months on a charge, and I'm assuming that's when it's in voice mode here. So it will drain faster than your typical Roku remote will. And of course, you'll drain it even faster if you're making use of the private listening feature. It charges here on the bottom with a micro USB cable that's included, but they don't give you the AC adapter, but it'll charge up with any USB charger. Now, the remote does support television control, both for power and the volume buttons here on the right-hand side of the remote, but your television has to support HDMI CEC. This is not a universal remote, and your television is going to get all of its commands through your Roku device over the HDMI cable. This is a common feature on televisions nowadays, but there are a lot of TVs that are older that don't have it on by default or don't support it at all. So you may want to dig out your TV manual if you notice the commands on the remote are not working properly with your television to see how to activate that feature if available. But again, a lot of modern TVs should work fine with it. Now, on the front here, you've got your usual buttons. These buttons are paid for by streaming services. You can't change them. And right now, it looks like mine came with Netflix, Disney+, Hulu, and Sling as my shortcut buttons. And these might change over time. So if you get this, you might have different services on your buttons. Over here, with the 1 and 2 buttons, you can do some customization. And what's cool about this is that it is linked to voice searches. Let me show you an example of that. I'm going to do a quick search here for science fiction. And what this is going to do is give me a genre search of science fiction shows. And if I hold down, let me give you the overhead view here. If I hold down the 1 button, you'll hear a beep. And after I do that, that's going to lock that search I just made with my voice to the first button, button number 1. So when I push that, what it's going to do is actually activate a voice search without my voice, which I think is pretty cool. So you can basically record any voice command as a macro on here. Likewise, I had earlier set button 2 here to launch Apple TV, which it will do here with just a push of a button. I would have loved to have had the ability to configure the other buttons here, but unfortunately when you push it, it's just going to load up Netflix and you can't set it to do anything else. Now there's not much in the way of configuration here, but you can configure the remote to make different sounds when you activate that remote finder we looked at earlier. So what you do is go into settings, you go to remotes, you go to your voice remote pro here, and you'll see that there is a way to change that sound. So the default sound is sonar, which we heard earlier, but I could change it to a whistle here. It downloads the audio file to the remote, and we can hold down the button here and preview that whistle. We also have a referee's whistle here, which is another one you can use. So it'd be kind of neat if you could put your own on here, but right now it looks like it's limited to just these 3, but they're downloading to the remote here as you go. So overall, it's a decent remote control from Roku. The hands-free searches might be useful. You can turn on your television, for example, just by shouting at the remote control. Roku says you need to be within about a 12-foot radius of the remote's location for best results. I found that to be accurate in my testing. Now, if you're looking to save yourself some money, though, why don't you check out the app that they offer for free for smartphones? This runs on iOS and Android, and you do get a lot of features that you're going to get on the physical remote built into the app. The big one is that you can do private listening through the Roku app on the phone just by tapping on that headphone icon there. And right now, all of the audio from my Roku player is getting routed through my phone. And if I had headphones on the phone, I would get quiet private listening just like I would if I plugged headphones into the remote control. Roku's gotten really good at syncing up video to audio both through the headphone jack here but also through their app. So it works just as well through the phone as it does through the remote control. You do get some shortcut buttons here for your favorite channels. You've got the remote control, and on the phone you get a keyboard that you can use to type in commands as well. So if you are looking for some of the features here and don't necessarily want to buy a new remote, give the app a try. It's free and it gets you a lot of those features. But if you are looking for a better remote control, this is definitely a better remote control. I think it's fairly reasonably priced for what it offers, especially the private listening feature. And overall, it's something that I think I can recommend. That's going to do it for now. Until next time, this is Lon.TV. Thanks for watching.
This channel is brought to you by the Lon.TV supporters, including gold level supporters Chris Allegretta, Tom Albrecht, Mark Bollinger, Sergio Morales, Mark Dell, Jim Callagher, and Stephen Sue. If you want to help the channel, you can by contributing as little as $1 a month. Head over to lon.tv/support to learn more. And don't forget to subscribe. Visit lon.tv/s.